Sleepy Classics class. Tonight, as the rain falls softly and the birds outside are getting ready for bed, we are going to put on our appropriate, soft, academic attire for sleepy class. We've got silky, soft pyjamas and fluffy academic robes. So soft. And we'll start with some lavender hand cream that's made with the beautiful lavender flowers in the fields, cut in the summer and now sleeping with the coming winter, as we will be with the coming night, and as that relaxing, calming lavender scent sends us into the right state for our sleepy class. We have our equipment ready. What we need. We've brought everything to class that we need. A soft, fluffy pillow, so we can sink into it and be in a perfect state for class. So make sure that you're prepared, because class is beginning. We begin with some cloud-like pen and pencil, blue like the sky in the day when we float off, and we'll be using my favorite teal or kingfisher ink, and the pencil, which is 0.5 millimeters. We're going to start with one sentence. Leaving 3 legions to besiege the city. Pompey marched to meet his opponents. This sentence shows us the strategic movement of besieging a city while engaging in military actions. This is a well-known tactic employed by Pompey during the Roman Civil War. We have examples of this from several classical historians, namely Julius Caesar's Commentari de Bello Civili, the Civil War, namely Book 3. We have the parallel lives of Plutarch's Life of Pompey, where Plutarch gives a very detailed biography of Pompey, including all of his military campaigns during the Civil War against Caesar. He discusses Pompey's decisions in deploying his forces and leaving legions in various places. While Caesar was concerned mainly with his own actions between himself and Pompey, and the specific tactic of leaving legions to besiege a city or marching somewhere is not uncommon in Caesar's movements either. We also have Appian's Civil Wars, Book 2, where there's an account of the Roman Civil Wars. This provides some context to Pompey's actions during this period, including his movements to confront Caesar while securing cities. And one last example I shall mention is Cassius Dio, or Dio Cassius. His Roman history books 41 and 42 give a detailed account of the conflict between Pompey and Caesar, narrating some of Pompey's tactical decisions, including this division of forces to secure strongholds while preparing to meet Caesar in battle. So here we have the English. Leaving 3 legions to besiege the city, Pompey marched to meet his opponents. What we have is the expression of an idea of Pompey leaving legions to besiege a city while marching to meet his enemies. So grammatically, rather than semantically, we've got the semantics already. Or perhaps some of you were sleeping during that part, but that's alright. I think if you've fallen asleep, you're doing quite well in this class. What we need to look at is how purpose and result are expressed grammatically, and we can do this several ways. We shall use both ink and graphite pencil. The first way we'll be using participle. In fact, more specifically, we'll use an ablative absolute. So with an ablative absolute, we know we have with something being done. And as we have two clauses, we'll use a purpose clause. For the besieging. So we have 3 legions in our ablative. Tribus, legionibus, and now we can use our purpose clause. And we can use 2 different words here. Urbem for city, oppidum for town. Since we're in battle, and oftentimes settlements are referred to as oppida, that's the word we shall use. Oppidum. And obsidendum. Tribus legionibus ad oppidum obsidendum. So there's our purpose clause. Relictis. Now, there's our verb, so left behind. Tribus legionibus relictis, an ablative, absolute participle verb in the ablative with 3 legions. With 3 legions left behind, ad oppidum obsidendum, to besiege the city. Now we can have our main clause. Pompeius ad hostes occurrendos contendit. And there's our second purpose clause with ad. So we're using lots of participles here. Yes. Obsidendum, occurrendos, relictis, and there's our main verb. Advancing or marching out towards, marching to meet, contender. Pompey marches out to meet, marches to meet in order to meet his opponents. Ad hostes occurrendos. So our participle clauses. So we've got ad oppidum obsidendum, indicating a purpose to besiege the city, and occurrendos, gerundive, meeting opponents. In order to add hostes occurrendos. So a nice purpose clause, gerundives, and ablative absolute. There's a second way we can use these, express this purpose. We have possibly you might think of using ut plus the subjunctive. So this entails using subordinate clause, which is our ut clause. How shall we do our ut clause? We start the sentence with Pompeius, and we're going to put in our subordinate clause now. Relictis tribus legionibus ut oppidum obsiderent, and there we have our subordinate clause. So with 3 legions left behind, again our little ablative absolute, in order to besiege the town, the city. And now we go back to our main clause, Pompey being the subject. Ad hostes occurrit contendit, advanced to meet the enemy. So there's the difference here. We've used several little participle clauses, and here we've used an ut oppidum, obsiderent. So the purpose clause here, introduced by ut and followed by the subjunctive obsiderent, so that they might besiege the city, goes together with the ablative absolute, expressing that the legions have been left behind. Alright. Another way. This one will be using a supine for purpose. Now, supine is another of the 4th form of verbs, or the 4th principal part, and often is used to express purpose. So to show you a supine, we will start again with Pompeius. Tribus legionibus relictis. That's our standby ablative absolute. Tribus legionibus relictis, and for the purpose, oppidum obsidendi causa. Ad hostes occurrit contendit. So we have Pompey in our main clause, again, marched out to meet the enemy, and our a small clause in here. Obsidendi causa is a supine construction expressing purpose for the sake of causa obsidendi with our gerund. Ablative absolute used again here. So for the sake of besieging the city, with the 3 legions left behind for the sake of besieging the city, Pompey marched out to meet his enemy. I hear one of you snoring already. Well done, extra points. For those of you still paying attention, let's do one more. This time we're going to use a relative clause of purpose. And this will be with our qui plus the subjunctive. Again, we'll start with Pompey. Pompeius. And our lovely ablative absolute. I see one of you has gone off the edge of the page in your writing. Extra points for that. Well done. And another one of you is drooling on your work. Perfect. Such achievement. I knew this was a high achieving class. So, tribus legionibus. Do you know the next word in our ablative absolute? You weren't paying attention? Perfect. No one spotted the error. What a great class this is. I think almost everyone's asleep. Tribus legionibus relictis. And coming next, our relative, quae, referring to the legion, which is in the plural. Quae oppidum obsiderent, or subjunctive. And there you see our relative clause of purpose. Who might guard or besiege the city. And then we have our main clause, ad hostes occurrit contendit. Lovely. So we've used the clause of purpose, quae oppidum obsiderent, which expresses the idea of leaving the legions which would besiege the city. I see some of you are still awake, so we'll keep going until you're asleep. Here we're going to use a gerundive of purpose and an indirect statement for the result. how do we do this? We're going to now. I'm at the bottom of the page, so if you're not asleep yet, let's look very closely and work those eyes. That's it. Here we are. I'm going to write very small, so you have to work hard, and this will tire your sleepy, tired eyes. Pompeius, tribus, legionibus oppidum, obsidendum, relictis. And here you see a slightly different word order. We have our subject for the main clause Pompey with 3 legions left behind, oppidum, obsidendum, and there's our gerundive of purpose. Relictis. And hostibus, obviam, iturum, se dixit. What's happening here? Here, oppidum, obsidendum, gerundive to express purpose for the besieging of the city, and obviam iturum se dixit. This is an indirect statement of result. So changing the sentence only slightly, giving Pompey a new verb. He said, and that he would say, Pompeius dixit, say, he said that he, iturum hostibus obviam, that he would go to meet his opponents. And this introduces a sort of an indirect discourse because Pompey's actually saying that he did something. There's our indirect dixit. So that one is a little bit farther from our original English. So let's recap for sleep. Leaving 3 legions to besiege the city, Pompey marched to meet his opponents. We have the main clause and the action Pompey marching to meet his opponents. And the other action has happened first. We also have a small bit of purpose. The 3 legions have been left behind in order to besiege the city. Pompey is the one doing the leaving. Possibly the most encountered and eloquent form of this sentence in Latin will be the ones with the participles. Tribus legionibus ad oppidum obsidendum relictis, Pompeius ad hostes occurrendos contendit. The subordinate clause works well. Our ut with subjunctive, Pompeius relictis tribus legionibus ut oppidum obsiderent ad hostes occurrit contendit. We can also use a supine of purpose to be very succinct. Pompeius tribus legionibus relictis oppidum obsidendi causa ad hostes occurrit contendit. And another eloquent example is our relative clause. Pompeius tribus legionibus relictis quae oppidum obsiderent ad hostes occurrit contendit. And last we have our gerundive of purpose and our indirect statement of result. Pompeius tribus legionibus oppidum obsidendum relictis hostibus opium iturum se dixit. So depending on context, we can use different ones, all expressing the purpose of leaving the 3 legions behind. Which ones are your favorite? I can see most of you are fast asleep now. In the clouds and the stars, floating up into dreamland. Before class ends, I would like to thank everyone for watching and coming to class and bringing your sleepiest, countenance, especially those of you snoring and drooling. If you enjoyed this, do please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment below or check out the Studies Patreon website, the link in the description below. I would like to thank especially the Studies Super Patrons for their continued support through the month of November. Andreas, thank you. Thank you. Ben, thank you. Thank you. And particularly thanking Ben and several of my super patrons who sent kind wishes this last week. Because I had to say goodbye to my beautiful dog who was almost 15 years old, and it was a very difficult time. So thank you to Ben and those who sent their wishes. Joshua, thank you. Thank you. Pirate Carrie, thank you. Thank you. Romulus, thank you. Thank you. Theron, thank you. Thank you. Carmen 1000, thank you. Thank you. Sleep well, my friend. Be good to yourself. Be kind to others. And, as always, be extraordinary.